Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's so nice to see all of you again after a while. Wonderful, happy faces with the winter, cold winter. So thank you for your appearance today in this Sunday program. So today my service is to talk about Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, Karma Yoga. So let's start with that. We'll do some prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Jalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yutpada Kamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahana Lalita Sadhvitam Sabhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahana Lalita Shri Vishakha Nikamsha He Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Pikakanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so want to do a little bit of Jayaragamana? Will be some company? Okay. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yashoda Nandana Pratijana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Pratijana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Jaya 5, titled as Karma Yoga, Connections in Krishna Consciousness. So we heard the last class by His Grace Amritanand Guru on chapter 4. And prior to that, you remember what was chapter 3? Chapter 3 was also Karma Yoga. So why the Karma Yoga is being revisited here? So interesting part, Lord Krishna describes the Karma Yoga, and Arjuna was bewildered when he heard some of the descriptions and instructions by Lord in chapter 4. And the chapter 4 ended with the instruction to Arjuna that get up and fight. Prior to that, Krishna says that give up your duties, and then later he says that get up and fight. So Arjuna was confused what he should be doing. Should he be fighting, or there is an alternate way? You know that Arjuna has that mindset that why he should fight, why he should be engaged in this ghastly affair of killing so many people. And his position was in such a way that the stakes are high, the activities or the actions what he's going to take is going to end up in quite a bit change in the world that exists. So we hear that when there are confusions, when we are not clear what should be the next course of action, what we should do.
Ask the question. Ask the right person.
Ask the right person, exactly. And what is the right person usually? Like your spiritual master. And so in this context, Krishna is acting as spiritual master for Arjuna. And Arjuna, being the perfect student, does not leave any kind of doubt. And he is not hesitant in asking questions to clarify that what should be his course of action. So in chapter 5, he begins with a question, and I would like to read that part. So Arjuna uvacha sannyasam karmanam Krishna sannyasam karmanam Krishna punar yoga cha samsashi yaschaya eyato etayorekam tanme brohi sunishchitam. He's saying that, Arjuna is saying, "Oh Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce the work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Here the word definitely is very important. Sunishchitam. So, Arjuna wants to be sure that what is the real instruction here. As we can all understand that when somebody's sannyasa means, we understand that as if like give up all the activities. So Arjuna is not different. He's just also same line. He's thinking like giving up all the activities looks like there is a path for avoiding the war. And on the other hand, Krishna is asking to act. So what he should be doing. Now, before we go in the description, has this happened to any one of you? Like an instruction is given to you, or you know for sure this is the activity you need to take, but then there is another instruction next to you, or somebody else, another superior, gives another instruction to you, and you are confused. Does it happen? It's very real, right? It happens. We are in the world of duality. Is it the fortune that the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the instructions of how to live in the duality world? But here, the stakes are high, and things for us also, when we have an instruction and we have a counteracting instruction, we should always, instead of speculating, take the shelter of our spiritual master, take the shelter of the realized people. Realized people are those who understand the context very well. In the practical world, if you are working on, like you have a task assignment and you have conflicting instruction from another manager, how do you handle that conflict management? Many of you have been the training, right? Conflict management. So, in order to resolve the conflict, you need to understand the interest. What is the interest? And you need to understand who are the stakeholders and resolve the conflict with the appropriate authority. Like the same way here, the topmost authority, very well clear to to Arjuna is Krishna. So he wanted to clear that. Now, so in order to go for these two parts, Karma Yoga and Sannyasa, right? So what is the right procedure? So now the next verse are in the chapter, Krishna answers that. Let me just read that also. Krishna says, the personality of the Godhead replied, the renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But for the two, work in devotion service is better than renunciation of work. How does it sound like an answer to you? So Krishna is saying that the renunciation of work as well as the work in devotion, both are good. And however, the work in devotion service is better than the renunciation of work. So, does it sound like an answer to you? So, what should be the action? Is it like should Arjuna be convinced with this answer right away? Arjuna is like, his question is that whether he should start working, he should like prepare for the war, or he should like give up all this and look for liberation, or like look for another way of bringing the peace here. So Krishna is saying that renunciation of the work as well as the devotion, work in devotion, both are equal. That further confuses Arjuna. And however, Krishna is saying very clearly that work in devotion is better, but it doesn't convince clearly that how the work in devotion can be better if the two are same. Where you think that if sannyasa or renunciation of the work is an option and is an easier option, then why not choose that? Why the work in devotion is better option? Any responses? Any reactions to that?
Because you're serving the Krishna in devotion.
Right, that's good. Why not renunciation from work? Sounds like very easy. You just sit in solitary, you don't have to do anything, you don't have to worry about others, and less damage. Why not that? So, going for that, go to the practical example. Let's say I just take my example. I love my son very much, and somebody gave me the instruction that renunciation of the work is better, or rather, work in devotion is better than the renunciation of the work. So if I choose renunciation and work here, even though I love my son, should I just give up my family activities? Should I just take sannyas? And then will that serve that purpose of my loving my son? Or work in devotion, which is I take the responsibility of raising my son to be a devotee and do my activities in a way that they are closer to Krishna, work in devotion. Which one is easier?
Work in devotion.
Work in devotion is easier, right? So even though it sounds like renunciation of the work is easier, but on a practical platform, renunciation, the work in devotion is more practical. The same thing here, Krishna is very practical and methodical also. And this Bhagavad Gita is not only the manual of living, but also the eternal guide for all of us. Like at the time, place, circumstances, all the instructions stays true. Does not matter. So right there with that, our circumstances sounds like that is the right answer, right? So with that, Krishna then clarifies further in few next verses that why work in devotion is better than the renunciation of the work. The devotees, when they devotees are like working devotion means like you are staying fixed and doing your activities in a manner that you relate to the serving Lord, serving the devotees, and making your choices in a way it is related to Krishna. That's what is called Krishna consciousness, keeping Krishna in the center of our activities, right? So next few verses, Krishna explained the concepts of that and makes clear that working in devotion is higher. And on the contrary, if one wants to do the renunciation from the work, it is so hard, it's so impractical, at least in this time and age. Our bodies are like not capable of handling all this. Like, first of all, we have short span of life, and then we are compromised with all the imperfect senses, and we are prone to make errors, and we are less fortunate. And even if we get some fortune, we have low intelligence to make those to make right decisions, to stay fixed there. So many imperfections. It's very hard for us to really adopt the life of renunciation from work. And that's why Krishna proposed, and it's actually more practical. And thankful to Srila Prabhupada that he came all the way to this Paschat place, US, where we are, that he gave us this Krishna consciousness, and today we are together here and discussing about Krishna conscious activities. It's so interesting. I was on a trip to India, and the type of busy life we have here, and still we do our activities here and follow this Bhakti Vriksha Sunday programs and Kirtan Fest and so many activities like that. When the people there in India hear that, they get mesmerized at how you are able to manage all this, so many spiritual activities, and also do your work as well. So we are thankful that the amount of purity given by Srila Prabhupada here is much easier for us to access here. and we are not like disturbed by the other like difficulties of I don't have enough money to get the food and things like that. The bare basic necessities are not a problem here in at least in America, and I don't think that's the case either in India also. But the life, the way style we have here, the opportunities of practicing the Krishna consciousness is much easier. In chapter 6, Krishna explains that those who get this kind of a life is also an austerity of the previous lives. That you don't have to worry about the basic needs, and at this time we should make our every effort to be in the Krishna consciousness, to adopt the life of devotional services. So that's my short realization on this context of it, and then I'll go to a couple of other points. This chapter is actually full of a lot of interesting points, which are every single verse is like full of nectarian, and especially Prabhupada's purports are like so amazing, full of nectar. So next part, Krishna also explains that we should act the activities. Okay, now we all agree that we should act in the devotional service, right? Then that means how we should act. Okay, so we heard in chapter 3 Karma Yoga, and Lord explained that in detail. And you heard the word Sthit Pragya, you heard the word Diskan Karma Yoga, right? All those things were touched there. But here in this chapter 5, Lord emphasizes on these points more clearly, that one should be acting, or like how one should be practicing the devotional services. He should be following the Niskam Karma Yoga. Niskam means the activities you do not have any intentions of any results back from that. Well, how is that possible? Our lives are not meant for that, right? We always like anything activity we do, it's just impossible for us that to forget that we don't expect anything back. So how do we purify that situation and stay and practice this Niskam Karma Yoga? So it's pretty simple. The expectations will always be there, but if our expectations and all the activities are centered around serving the Lord, serving the devotees, serving our spiritual master, then it automatically centered, it automatically purifies, and the reactions of those activities are nullified, right? How does it happen? Just like just think of it. We go for shopping, or we buy a lot of things for us, and one way of thinking is that buying certain activity, certain thing will help us in our home activities or whatever. Like somebody wants to buy a TV, Thanksgiving was there. Somebody wants to buy a big computer. Somebody wants to buy something interesting things. So we can buy those things, but how we can relate those things to Krishna's service? So you get the TV, but use the TV for viewing the Krishna's pastimes. There are a lot of beautiful pastimes videographed now. There's a lot of RG Media has beautiful plays that explains about how the so many pastimes, Lord pastime. So if we use those facilities in Krishna's service, then it's no longer a like you don't get any reactions of that, right? So it's still engaged in the service of the Lord. You make food, I like lasagna, nice. You make lasagna and eat yourself, not good. While you are making lasagna, at the time, play a little video of, or like a song of Prabhupada, or Hare Krishna chanting mantra, or something like that, or a Prabhupada's lecture. And while you're cooking the lasagna, so while you're cooking the lasagna, that time your mentality, your thought process is in that cooking. So that whatever preparations you did, that preparation is no longer a material object. It has become a spiritual object. By the looks of it, it looks all the same, but just a little minor tweak in our activity just changes the complete nature of that particular material element. And once it's done, we offer nicely to the Lord, and then we can honor it. Simple thing. Still you like the lasagna. If you get the lasagna, you still have the lasagna. The only thing is, we devoted that to Krishna. So like that, we can tweak, we can dovetail our activities and make it more practical for all of us to be Krishna connected. And so that's Niskam Karma Yoga. You can think of any other such kind of things, and we can always brainstorm them, how we can relate them to Krishna. That's called intelligence in Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said that, who's intelligent? He used to say that in his lectures. Who's intelligent? The one who can dovetail the activities in Krishna consciousness is the intelligent person. So, okay, so next, now on the same topic, we'll just keep switching these two things, renouncing the work or working in devotion, right? So there's a subtle difference between the two. Renouncing the work and work in devotion, another difference is when you're renouncing the work, you are detaching. And when you are working in devotion, then you're attaching with something. So what is easier? Detaching is easier or attaching is easier? It's easier to attach something, right? So detaching, how many things you will detach? It's just practically impossible for us to keep detaching so many things. But attaching just one thing, attaching yourself to Krishna, just one thing, is all needed for working in devotion. So attaching is much more easier, right? So then we get the understanding of there are three doers. What are those three doers? In this body we have, what are three doers? Okay, let's think. First of all, is this body, are we the body or the soul? We are soul, right? So this is an intelligent community, I don't need to worry. So we are soul, so soul is one doer, right? And then along with the soul, there is another person. Who's that? Paramatma. Paramatma or super soul, right? So Paramatma is also with us. Then Paramatma is also the doer. Then third doer is, any guess? Prakriti. Prakriti is the third doer, right? So we are, we desire, and according to our account of eligibility, Lord sanctions those desires, and Prakriti, the mother nature, it helps to manifest all those desires, right? Now, in this statement, when I said, there's one thing is not true. Can anybody figure out what was that not true?
Who is the doer? Soul is the doer.
So there's three doers: soul, super soul, and prakriti. And we desire Lord sanctions, and prakriti, Mother Nature, fulfills those desires. Facilitates those desires. So one of them is not true. One statement is not true.
The soul is not the doer.
Yeah, good try. Anything else? Okay, she's actually 100% correct. Soul is not the doer. So what does it mean? If soul is not the doer, then how the activities are happening? So the difference is that soul, being the part and parcel of the Lord, is in the pure state, Sachidananda state. So the soul is also not the doer. Then why all these activities are happening then? Right? Why we are desiring something wrong? Because we are conditioned. So this statement, correct statement is, in the conditioned state of the soul, we desire. Because we are in that conditioned state, we desire, the Lord fulfills those desires. Just like a child desires a candy, right? So parents are very watchful, very careful. Sometimes they give it, sometimes they don't give it, sometimes they beat the kid also, and sometimes. So we're very careful in sanctioning those desires of the kid, and eventually. But there are times we all experience kid is very persistent in getting something, like I need the candy or I need this thing, regardless of its consequences. So what happens? We think that, okay, what is the maximum damage? Okay, you might have got the teeth or something wrong, and we assess our maximum damage and we sanction that. Okay, fine. At the most, this is gonna happen. That's fine, and we sanction it and then proceed with that. And the kid follows with that. Sometimes the kids guess those problems, and then we have to take care of that. Exactly the same situation is ours. Soul is Sachidananda, but it is in the conditioned state on this material world. Because soul is in the conditioned state in this material world, it's badly trapped with no options to make the purified desires. So these statements might be a little difficult to understand. Just if you pay attention, you will understand it. So why the soul is so entrapped, and why soul cannot make the desires what soul want, right? Like everybody has the desire for love. We all have those desires. The true desire is to serve the Lord, to be in the pure devotional service. That's the true desire of the soul. But it cannot execute those desires because it is trapped in the condition, this body, which is part of this material world. And this body is given to us because of the three modes. What we have done in the past, because of that we got this body. What we are doing in this life, we get the next body, and so on and on and on, going on and on indefinitely. So you heard the story. Of Indra, right? Indra was given the life. No, was it Indra or Indra? Indra was given the life of a hog, and then Lord Brahma came. Hey, your time is over. Get over this hog life. Let's go back to the heaven. And they say, no, I'm busy, very busy. I have to take care of the kids, and these little kids needs my help. So he doesn't want to give up that hog life when he was in the hog life. So that is just an example that this is the same situation with us. That whatever conditioned life we get trapped in that so much that we cannot think beyond that. So what is the solution? The solution is work in devotion. Get the association of the devotees. Realize yourself, take the activities for the self-realization so that you can understand what is the true self, what is the true nature of our activities we should be doing. So it's pretty easy but subtle. That if we make the right choices, then I'm just forgetting the verse. There's a verse in this chapter. Krishna says that the one who purifies their desires, they are in the pure devotional state, and because they are in the pure devotional state, being in this material world, just like all of us, some of the devotees who are in the higher stage of their realization, their bodies looks like just like anybody else, but they are not in the material state of life. They are liberated souls. It's hard to understand this, but this is clearly mentioned in the verse by the Lord Himself, that there's no difference. We might have this body, but our activities converts our existence into the liberated soul. So so many sannyasis sitting in the Himalayas, and they are doing all kind of austerities. Yes, that's true. But work in devotion, like executing our Prabhupada gave us very simple rules, 4 regulative principles, 16 rounds, and staying in the association of the devotees, serving the devotees, and finding our ways to stay fixed and never leave Krishna consciousness. As long as we have that, there is no difference in a person executing so many lives of austerities. There's no difference between that person and the person who just following these rules. Hard to believe, but that's true. And you can find those details in this chapter. I strongly encourage read the purports. Actually verses directly have those translations. So that's 3 doers. In the interest of time, I'll just move on to the next part. So there are 2 other very important verses of this chapter. 5:18. 5:18 is, most of you know it. That's it. Vidya Vinay Sampanne, let me pull up that because I'm poor in my memory. Okay. So Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmane Kabihastani, Suni Chaiva, Supake Cha, Pandita Samadarshana. Want to recite again? Vidya Vinay Sampanne, Brahmane Kabihastani, Suni Chaiva, Supake Cha, Pandita Samadarshana. So this is one of the most popular verse, and if you remember the picture where there is a super soul in the heart, and the one who's realized Samdarshita, the one who can equal vision, the one who has equal vision, sees the Paramatma in everyone. Right? You remember, some of you remember it, but just think of it yourself. Just envision yourself that if there are so many entities around you, you have a knowledge that we learned that 3 facts, right? Soul, super soul, and material modes of nature, Prakriti. So every living entity has soul and super soul. Super soul is Paramatma, right? So Paramatma is there with every living entity. So if you remember this one fact, that Paramatma is there with every living entity, and try to envision your surrounding in a way that every person, whether it's enemy or whether it's your friend, whether it's an animal, whether it's a like somebody you like or not like, they all have Paramatma with that. So that vision, we need to practice that vision. Practicing that vision is the quality of a self-realized person, right? So how do we like my practical experience or understanding of this verse is it's not only just the self-realization, it is also a formula for bringing the peace in our own heart also. And it will relate to the next important verse, which is 529. So how does it happen? So just think of it, somebody did something bad to you. So I remember that instance of Patri Prabhu explained it very nicely, a story. In short, when somebody does bad to you or somebody is in distress, what's your reaction? When somebody you see in distress, our reaction is that why he's in so much of trouble, and you feel pity about it, right? Instead, we change our reaction to that what happened to this person that he's not able to to serve the Lord, or not able to get the same benefit as a person who's realized. And so Pati Prabhu took the example of, there was two drivers. One was, they ended up in traffic, and this one person was cursing that all kind of curses, that traffic, and the other person was enjoying. He just put on loud music, Hare Krishna music, and he was enjoying the time. And this guy started cursing this guy also then, that how you can be happy in this. So the simple thing, like how you take that particular situation, it can change your mood. And so my understanding is, if we start thinking that there's a super soul, like we start respecting everybody, that the person, the way she looks like, or whatever the situation could be, the happiness, distress, or whatever situation could be, we should have a respect for that person because there is a Paramatma, and we respect that Paramatma in there. And that slowly will change our way of acting in this social environment. So that will change our perception of the society, perception of working with this social environment. And I personally felt like, just my experience is, when I deal with a lot of people in my office, I sometimes like encounter all kind of people, and it just, this words help me to think somebody not happy, or somebody like cursing around, or whatever, or there are people happy too. So this verse helped me to relate that how the Lord is beautifully acting through these people, or the one who is not acting properly. I pray to the Lord that, Lord, please do something to make this person also happy. So because Paramatma is sitting here and Paramatma is sitting there, the only difference between all of us is that we are small, tiny, and we are just in this body, and Paramatma is there in every single body. So it's like those who are technical, you will understand that there is something. Okay, forget it. So Lord sitting in everybody's body means our prayers will instantly transfer to the other person. And if your prayers are true prayers, it can change the situation as well. So I have experienced it in my life, and I find it game changer. And it can, if you practice it slowly, it can change the environment you're working on. and you'll feel like a lot of more happy faces around you. And I'll go to the next verse. The important verse is 29, the peace formula. Okay. So we'll recite, you can recite Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Bhoktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suhata Sarvabhutanam Yatva Mam Shantim Arshati. So this is also one of the most popular verse, and it is called the peace formula. Okay, sorry for a little delay, I'll just take 2-3 minutes more. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains the peace from the pangs of the material miseries. So this verse is used as the peace formula, or rather is popular as a peace formula. Now one may think of it how this is peace formula. So now we all heard about atrocities happening in Bangladesh, which are in news, and we know that. It doesn't mean that those things are not happening in other world. There's so many atrocities happening all around the world also. And being a devotee, being a true nature, if you want to look for the peace for all the people, what we can do? So one thing is we can pray. We can pray to the Lord that please be merciful, bring some peace for all those who are in difficulty and going through this trouble, right? Other ways we can just chat around different type of news items and masala items on that. Some people go to the whatever. So politicians here, there. That's not gonna help really. So what we can do is, see, first activity for us is that knowing the fact who is the proprietor of everything. So Lord is the proprietor of everything, right? We know that. So this verse is like clearly establishing that fact. Bhoktaram Yagitapisa Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. So Lord is the proprietor, and He is the Ishwar, and He is the enjoyer as well. Right? And if He is the enjoyer, He is the proprietor, then where else we should go? And then next line he says, Suhardam Sarva Bhutanam, and He is the well-wisher also for all of us. So now knowing all this, now why we should be going around here and there? Why not we just pray to the Lord? And we know the truth that if the Lord is the proprietor, and if the Lord is the enjoyer of all the things around, then praying to the Lord makes all the sense. Now, in a practical world, it sounds like more theoretical, but what is practical here? So, so it relates to the other verse we heard, right? So Lord acts in three forms: as Paramatma, as Brahman, and as and the Ishvara, right? So the three forms of the Lord, energies are there, and depends on the realization of the individual devotee. Lord is equipoised. The one who is realized at the Brahman state, the Lord acts accordingly, and the one who is Paramatma stage realization, Lord accordingly reciprocates with that. The topmost is the Ishvara realization. So the one who is in the Ishvara realization, the Lord reciprocates personally with them. So what it means is, Lord is so merciful that regardless of the situation of all of us, if we reach out to Him, He is Suhada Sarv Bhutanam. He is our friend and well-wisher. So just think of it, if you have a big brother, like very powerful, stout person, big brother, then and if you are in danger or anything, will you be hesitant asking for his help? No hesitant, right? You will obviously go to him for any help, right? Doesn't matter whether he can actually help or not. Same thing is situation. We straight or we clear our facts that Lord is the most powerful and He is our friend. So we should not be hesitant reaching out to the Lord for help. That's one fact. And Lord also promises that based on our situations, He will reciprocate. He'll come down to our level. Lord is not sitting there. You heard the story of, there was a story, the Akbar's story was there that Birbal throws his child in the river and Akbar jumps in the river directly to pick up the child himself. So that was to prove that if you love somebody, you don't wait. You actually you act on it directly by yourself. Same thing is true that Lord does not hesitate in working for His devotees, and He takes personal actions on that. So based on that, this sets the peace formula that our little effort, our little prayers to the Lord goes long way, and Lord comes down to our level to reciprocate with us, no matter what level of realization we have. With that, I will conclude this. Chapter 5, the biggest conclusion with the chapter 5 is that we need to act in devotional services, and in order to work in devotion, Prabhupada gave us the simpler formula: don't give up the association of the devotees and follow the 16 rounds. As though I understand not everybody is 16 rounds, but follow that as much as possible. But don't give up the association of devotees. And if you have started coming to this center for Sunday association, don't give up this association. Never, never, ever give up the Krishna conscious activities which have come to your life. With that, thank you so much. Sorry about the delays. Hare Krishna. Thank you for the temple management. Questions? Any question anybody wants? Ramchandra Prabhu said that one question you can take. Yeah. Okay.
Really, thank you so much. Very beautiful lecture. In the beginning, you mentioned in chapter 4, Lord Krishna has said, give up everything, and you said act also. Would you share those? Where it says that you said in the beginning, in chapter 4, Lord Krishna is giving Arjuna equivocal instruction. So what to do, this or that?
Yeah. Hare Krishna. So I believe I don't have internet here, but the last three verses in chapter 4 are building this kind of a confusion. So third last verse, Krishna is giving the instruction that give up. Yeah, and the second last verse, then Krishna gives the instruction that you, I don't know. So you have those verses?
Here, 40, 41, 42.
Yeah, this here, but internet is not here. Okay. Yeah. So I'll just read that. Thank you, Prabhuji, for picking those. So, so let me just read that. But the ignorant and faithless person who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness. They fall down. For the doubting soul, there is a happiness neither in this world nor in the next. One who acts in the devotional service, renouncing the fruits of his actions, and whose doubts have been destroyed by this transcendental knowledge, is situated factually in the self. Thus, he is not bound by the reactions of work, O conqueror of riches. Therefore, the doubts which have risen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga, O Bharata, stand and fight. So that's where the the punchline is, that one should be slashed by the weapon of the knowledge. So that's why Krishna expresses further detail in chapter 5 and details about the knowledge, how one should work in devotion. So that's what it is. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.